The Modern Impact of Catullus by Hisham Khudvavi. Catullus was a Latin poet of the late Roman Republic who lived from approximately 84 to 54 BC. The exact years of his birth and death are unknown, but it is estimated he lived about 30 years. In his life, Catullus wrote 116 poems about a wide variety of people and an even wider variety of topics. Most of what we know about Catullus comes from The Ides of March by Thornton Wilder, which is about the major people who lived at the end of the Roman Republic. Some of the poems of Catullus are quoted word for word in The Ides of March, which shows how important and influential he was in that time period. Catullus impacted several modern poets, one of whom was Robert Frost. Catullus impacted Robert Frost with his phrases and his themes. For example, Frost used the Catullan phrase mens animi, which means thoughts from the heart, several times in his writings. Frost also referred to Catullus in politics because he liked how Catullus was open and honest in writing poetry, and he didn't hold anything back. An example of this is in the Frost poem, Take Something Like a Star, in which Frost said he referenced the political views of Catullus. Overall, Frost viewed Catullus positively because of his openness and honesty, and also because Catullus wrote from the heart, which is where the phrase mens animi comes from. The next poet Catullus has impacted is Ezra Pound. Pound referenced Catullus often in his works, and he always raved about the simplicity which Catullus wrote with. However, Pound could not imitate the language of Catullus because of an inability to translate his work. A lot of poets, including Pound, had an inability to translate the work of Catullus, even though it was said that he wrote with such simplicity. The meaning of the words that Catullus used makes it difficult to translate his works. But Pound was still able to borrow the voice and style of Catullus, which he used in his works. Another poet Catullus had a heavy influence on was W.B. Yeats. Yeats openly imitated Catullus as he believed that poetry was pure and meaningful in the time of Catullus. Yeats said that he gained richness and clearness in his thoughts from studying and reading the works of Catullus. Overall, Yeats started out with poetry that was vague and unmeaningful, but was enriched by the influence that he had by reading Catullus. The final major poet in the modern era that Catullus has heavily impacted is Alfred Tennyson. Tennyson arguably brought Catullus into modern poetry in the Victorian time period with his poem Frater Ave Atque Vale. The poem was written by Alfred Tennyson after the death of his brother, and it was about how both Catullus and Tennyson felt similar about losing a brother. Overall, Catullus had a major influence on classical and modern poets. Some of the classical poets he impacted was Ovid, Horace, and Virgil. He also influenced modern poets such as Frost, Pound, Yeats, and Tennyson, among others. He has been viewed positively because of his openness and also his rich yet simple words, which convey a deep meaning. Although his words may seem simple on the surface, they carry a meaning which can only come from the heart, which is why he has been admired throughout every time period. Thank you.